For probably, I don't know, maybe 30 years, people have been trying to get me to do opera because they've always felt my films are rather theatrical, operatic, colorful, the stuff that opera is. And I always said no.
It just sort of grew together through listening to it. Many meetings about the score, many meetings about the text, how it would be translated, what world we could put it in. We struggled a lot.
I got lured into this by reading Benvenutocelli's autobiography many years ago, and I always wanted to do a film of it. And after doing Faust and discovering the world of Berlioz, I thought, well, there's an opera called Cellini. And now we're discovering just how difficult and why it's seldom performed.
Terry nearly quit. Good 20 times. And yet we both were in love with the piece.
So today we're 10 days away from going on stage. They've still probably got about a third of the opera to block, but for Terry, who's been working on it for 2 years, it's finally, the realization of all his ideas.
Berlioz, I guess, was the acorn, and this may be the great oak that hopefully doesn't topple.
We have a fantastic group of actors who spent a long time finding.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm doing Cellini.
Part of choosing that group had to do with not just finding good performers, but finding creators. Singers are not used to moving quickly while they're singing. So it's pushing them sometimes outside their comfort zone. It's not so much that you demonstrate, but you give them the energy.
You want a good group of people who aren't pompous, who are willing to play. I mean, that's the kind of people I like working with, where the hierarchy breaks down, we're all pitching in.
He's always whispering things in my ear. I'll often give him a nudge and say, we have to keep going. Or, no, stop, let's work it out.
Working with Leia, she's teaching me every day. She knows so much more than I do. And her ideas are just fantastic. So it's really, it's two directors on this, basically. Today is Nightmare Day, because this morning we had the chorus doing the last scene in Act 1, which is magnificent. It's Mardi Gras, it's huge, and it's outrageous, and it's spectacular. The last part of the overture is that great bam, 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 and the doors open up. Out comes Stilt Walkers. This is coming down the aisle in the auditorium.
This head for the Mardi Gras scene, cut all those shapes out, glued them together, and then we just scaled it up to this size, which is exactly the same pattern.
We have our own props workshops. They make a lot of our props, not everything.
Terry really pushes you to get the most out of you, and he does come up with mad ideas and asks the impossible. It's not my job to say no. We're the department that says yes to everything. If we can't do it, we find a way to do it.
The main design is a work by Piranesi.
I've always loved Piranesi, and we started talking about making the world a dark, oppressive kind of world. Well, Piranesi's carcere, his prisons, are brilliant, and that's what we basically used.
We have a small costume workshop based up at our rehearsal room in West Hampstead called Lillian Bayless House.
I think at the last count we were on about 370 costumes. So this is the Pope costume. This is like a metal structure. It has to swing open on a hinge. There's a lot of structure to it, stuff we're not used to doing here. It's great.
There are a lot of masks in Cellini. There's 78 chorus and everyone has a mask.
The singer has to be able to sing, has to be able to see the conductor. So if he's in a mask, we need to make the eyes big, or we need to make it so the sound doesn't, echo in their ears, reverb so they can't hear the orchestra. So Sharon's making everything greasy and oily, so they look like they've been welding for years and years and years.
Even sometimes things that are clean costumes but they have to look natural still have to have something done to them to give it that worn look.
We've had to compromise. Katrina's had to compromise. Terry Gilliam's had to compromise. It's a bit scary actually because we're getting a bit closed.
You don't know what a lot of the things you've planned and designed are going to work until very late in the day. You're right up to the last moment before all the elements start falling into place. Either they work or they don't.
We tried to do what Berlioz had in mind, I think, which was something pretty mad. Way, way more crazy than either of us imagined to begin with.
Berlioz had 3 goes at it, and it never has proved to be a great success. So my attitude is, okay, get the scissors out and see if we can make it work this time, and be very bold about it. And I keep every day learning something new, or realizing that the idea I had isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, or we can't actually do it. So that's the hard part, is being a student again in my autumn years.